Shalom, everyone. This is Brother Jimmy, aka Ambassadors of Yah. So I have here before you one of our calendar beads. Just wanted to show you how to use it so that when you get these, you know how to keep your days, number your days, as we're told in Scripture. No sense of you having something as a memorabilia and don't even know how to use it, right? So make sure you have it oriented in the way that I have it here, as you see before you, where you see that these two strands here, these different colors of what I have is right next to each other. So just to give you an understanding, you might have a different color, and most likely you do because it's the only one that we made like this. So on this particular calendar bead, the gray beads would be high days. Okay, the turquoise beads would be my Shabbat days. So there's 52 of those in a year. So there's 52 of these turquoise beads. Okay, and then the gold beads represents regular days. All right, so with that being said, you'll notice that if you see this mark of beads on your calendar beads, you know if it's to the left, you have it oriented like I do. If you have this flipped where it's like this and it's on the right side, then you don't have it as I do. The reason why you have to have it this way is because these strands represents months. So each month is represented by a strand. You would have 12 of these, okay? They're separated by these beads up here at the top. Yours would be a different color, but that lets you know of the 4 seasons, okay? So you see that we have a bead here, a bead here, a bead here. Those 3 beads allows you to know your 4 seasons. Now, with that being said, as long as you have it oriented this way, and I have another one here. This is the one that we send out to most of you all. This is our normal bead. Notice how on this one, the white ones are the high days, as I had the gray ones here on this one. The gray ones here are regular days, where I have the gold on this one. And the Shabbats are yellow beads on this one, where it's turquoise on this one. Okay, so now you can see all the high days here. This represents our Feast of Matzah, also known as the Passover week. Okay, so here it's gray, and on this one it's white. So again, as long as you have it oriented this way, you'll be able to follow. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead and move this one out of the way. And we're going to start off with these here. So you have these tie downs. We have these tie downs here to give to you all, so you know where you're at of the month, okay, and of the year for that matter. So you're going to start here from the left. This one here would be what we would consider or call spring equinox, which we have a fall equinox coming up here in the next couple of days as of the timing of this video. So let's just deal with this one. So we're going to separate that. We're going to just deal with this strand here for this very second. So we have a high day, which is our first day, the spring day or spring equinox, first day of the year of the first month. And then you're going to have 30 days here. So that's 30 beads. Okay. This will be your first Shabbat, 4 days after the spring equinox. Always will be the 4th day. You'll be able to use this calendar bead perpetually. You can always use it every year. It never changes. Okay. So you have your Shabbat, regular days, and then you have a high day. Okay. This high day here, which is the 10th day of the first month, is when Yahuah was commanded to set aside a male lamb without any spot or blemish. So that's what that day is there. Then you have the Shabbat the next day. 2 days later, then you have the Passover. This is the 14th day of the first month. This is Passover, okay? It is not a Sabbath or a high Sabbath, a day that you're supposed to rest. This day you do because this is the first day of unleavened bread and the last day of unleavened bread. These 2 days are going to be high Shabbats, okay? Then you have a Shabbat right in the middle of the week. All right, so this follows the calendar that we give you guys, the PDF calendar of the Enoch Zadok calendar, okay? And so this explains all of this here. This will be your first fruits. All right, and so that'll be the first month. Here's the second month. And once again, you have your day that you put aside a lamb, because this is for those who weren't able to make the first Passover, as we're told in Leviticus. Okay, so here is for those who weren't able to make the first Passover week of unleavened bread. They get to do it on the second month. Identical dates, identical everything. This is the 10th day when you set aside the lamb. This will be your Passover. This will be your first day of unleavened bread. This would be your Shabbat. And then the last one is another high day where you're supposed to have a festival unto Yahuah. Okay, so that would be another placed apart ceremony where those of us who are able to, we come together, and I pray to Yahuah as next year comes around that we'll be able to do that together on TikTok if we're able to do so. And so that would be the second month. Okay, this is the third month, and right here you'll see this is what we know as Shavuot, also known as the Feast of Weeks or Pentecost. Okay, and it's always going to be the first day of the week, one after the Shabbat, so you can never get that mistaken. Okay, so now let's go to the fourth one. The fourth one, we're going into a new season. Remember, every 3 months, and then you go into a season. So this would be the summer solstice right here. 3 days later, you have your Shabbat, just like the first month. Same thing. Okay, they both look the same here, right? Then you count your 6 days, and then you have your Shabbat. 6 days and Shabbat. 6 days and Shabbat. And then this side here, you're gonna have 5 days, 6 days, and then Shabbat, right? So now we're in the second month. We're in the third month. Okay, this is deep into the summer. Nothing happens around the summer on Yah's calendar as far as feast days. Now we come into the seventh strand, or the seventh month. Okay, the seventh period. And here we have your first day of what we know as or not first day, but it is, yeah, I guess it'd be the first day of fall. And that would also be our fall equinox, okay, when you have a straight line shadow, as you do on the first day of the year on the spring equinox, a straight line shadow. So here you have your Shabbats, your regular days, and then you have your 10th day. This is what we know as the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippurim, okay, and then you have your Shabbat, and then you go here. This is going to be what we know as the Feast of Sukkot, also known as the Feast of Tabernacles. First day and last day, okay? This is an 8-day celebration, unlike the Passovers. The Passovers is a 7-day celebration. If you include the Passover itself, it would also be 8 days, okay? So this one is 8 days. You have a Shabbat in the middle of it. Your first and your last day are going to be high days, where you come together and assemble, okay? And then after that, our ceremonial festivals are over for the year, okay? So then you have the rest of your months here. So this would be the 8th month, the 9th month, the 10th month, the 10th month again. Now we're going into the winter solstice, okay? 3 days later, you have your Shabbat. So this is how you'll always be able to know where your Shabbats are. If you, for some reason, don't know what's going on, if you know how to keep these 4 times of the year and how to locate them using the sun, you can never go wrong as to where you are on Yah's calendar. Let me say that once again. If you know these 4 days of the year, which is your equinoxes and your solstices, so you have 2 equinoxes right here, the spring and the fall, and then you have 2 solstices. You have the summer and the winter. If you know those 4 signs and how to mark them, to know how to find them using the sun, you will always be right back on Yah's calendar, because you're always going to know that 3 days later is going to be your Shabbat. 3 days later, Shabbat. 3 days later, Shabbat. 3 days later, Shabbat. So on the 10th month, we go through the 10th month, and we count our Shabbats using the beads. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this, okay, and you would just use it every day when you're, and today this is why I have it here, okay, but just to show you the way we give this to you, you just have a little tie down, you know, where you can open it up like a fisheye kind of deal, and you just tighten it on to the bead above the date, okay? That would be your date. So let's say if it was the first day after that it is where is it here? Oh, here we go. Yeah. So fall equinox. Let's say this is fall equinox, which is getting ready to come up. You just make a little space there. Put this on right up above it, so you know, because of gravity, you don't want it to fall on it, and then now you don't know what day you have. Just put that there like that. Just, you know, gently tie it, and now you know underneath that is the date. Okay, not above it, but underneath it. All right. So that would be the first day of the 7th month, which what we call Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Noises. Okay. The Shofar Feast, the Feast of Trumpets. So that's pretty much it. Now let me show you the last part here so you understand what these colors are here. So remember I said there's 52 Shabbats in a year, and that is true for every calendar that we make. So at the end of this, you have your Shabbat here, and then you have 3 more days. This is going to take you into the last 3 days of the calendar month, okay? Just so you understand, let me show you this on our calendar that we send out to everybody. That's a PDF, okay? So on that calendar, as soon as I get this thing off of here, waiting for this thing to show up. All right, so now here, this is the last month of the year, Kadash 12, okay? Renewed 12, or a new period, new month. Now you'll notice that the Shabbat is over here, okay? This whole line is the Shabbat. But then we have 3 more days, which coincides with these beads. 3 more days, that's the Shabbat, 3 more days, right? Then you have the 365th day for a normal year. This will happen every year. You're gonna count that bead right there. Okay, this is why we have it separated here, just to let you know that this is to be separated. You're going to have these two. These two represent the 365 day of the solar cycle, not the solar calendar. We follow a 364-day calendar only, as we're told in the book of Jubilees and in the book of Enoch. So the 365th day, 365, that one would be this one here, okay? Now, every 4 years we have a leap year, so that would be that one there, because the leap year, you're going to find that the spring equinox isn't going to come right away after 1 day, which is 365. It's going to be 2 days gap in between. And then you would start it all over again here on the spring equinox, counting your days. So the spring equinox is the first day of the year. These here, again, is to let you know how many days you have until the sighting of the spring equinox. You're either going to have 1 day or 2 days. It's going to be 1 day every year up until the 3rd year, and the 4th year is going to be 366 days. Because as you guys know, if you remember in your social study, or not social studies, but in high school, when we studied the solar system, even though it's fake, but the cycle of the sun is real. Now, the cycle of the sun goes around in revolution 365 days and a quarter. That's why every 4 years, those quarters add up into 1. And so that would make 366, hence what the leap year is all about, okay? And so that pretty much does it for the calendar. Everything else on the calendar, like the handles, this is all decorative, nothing else on it. All right, so if you have any questions and you don't know how to use it, please let me know. I thank you for your time. If any of this was confusing, just DM me in the box and I'll try to clarify it for you. Thank you again for watching. This is Brother Jimmy, Ambassadors of Yah, signing off.